There is a kind of exhaustion that doesn't come from doing too much. It comes from not knowing who you are, not in a surface way, but in a deep internal way. When identity is unclear, life feels fragmented. You move through the world, but something inside you feels unsettled. You might succeed, you might adapt, you might even look fine on the outside. But emotionally and spiritually, something feels off. So today I want to explore why identity matters, both spiritually and emotionally, and what happens when a person grows up without a clear place to belong. So to help us understand this, we're going to look at someone that many people know, Trevor Noah. So let's start with the emotional reality. So Trevor Noah grew up during apartheid in South Africa to a black mother and a white father, a relationship that was illegal at the time. From the beginning of his life, his existence didn't fit neatly into the categories around him. He didn't fully belong in black spaces. He didn't belong in white spaces. And so the system around him didn't have language for who he was. Emotionally, this creates dislocation. When you don't see yourself reflected anywhere, you become an observer of life rather than a participant of it. And so you learn to watch, you learn to adapt, you learn to read the room before you enter it. And over time, this becomes part of your identity. And this is where something important happens. For Trevor Noah, humor wasn't just talent. It was a strategy. Comedy became a way to release tension, to make sense of contradiction. It was a way to name uncomfortable truths without being rejected. It was a way to survive emotionally in spaces that didn't fully accept him. When laughter enters the room, pain becomes manageable, and this is true for many people. Comedy often develops where emotions had nowhere to land, where vulnerability wasn't safe, where direct expression wasn't allowed, and where pain had to be transformed into something lighter. So humor becomes a bridge. It allows the soul to speak without fully exposing itself. But this isn't just emotional. This is where the spiritual layer of identity comes in. Spiritually speaking, identity gives the soul coherence. When identity is unclear, the soul feels fragmented because it's being pulled in different directions and it's trying to reconcile opposing realities. And so for Trevor Noah, humor became a form of spiritual meaning making. Through humor, he was able to integrate contradiction. He was able to hold complexity without collapsing. He was able to tell the truth in a world that punished truth. And he was able to transform pain into insight. Spiritually, this is profound. It means that identity is not just about belonging to a group. It's about making meaning out of experience. Identity becomes the story you tell yourself about who you are after life has tested you. And so this is where emotional grounding begins. As Trevor became older, his identity became more integrated. He no longer needed to perform belonging. He began owning his perspective. He understood that his in-between moment or experience wasn't a weakness. It was insight. Emotionally, this does something powerful. Anxiety softens. The nervous system settles. Self-trust grows. And your inner authority forms. This is what happens when identity becomes clear. You stop asking, where do I fit? And you start asking, how do I express who I am? And this is where something important happens, because this isn't about creating an identity. This is about reclaiming your identity. So let's pause on that word for a moment, reclaim. The prefix re means back or again. The verb to claim means to take ownership of what is already yours. So to reclaim your identity doesn't mean that you invent something new. It means that you're reclaiming something that already existed. It means that you were always that person. You were born with that essence. Life, circumstance, culture, fear may have covered it, but they didn't erase it. Reclaiming your identity is the moment you realize, I'm not becoming someone new. I am returning. I am coming back to myself. And that's what we see happening here. The question shifts from where do I fit to how do I express who I am? And so this is identity being reclaimed, not discovered, not created, but remembered. And once we understand that identity is something that we remember rather than something we create, we begin to see that this process isn't just unique to him. It's something that many people experience in different ways, often without having the words for it. Which brings us to why this conversation about identity matters for all of us. You don't have to be a comedian to recognize this pattern. Many people became achievers to be accepted. Many became caretakers to feel needed. Many became quiet to stay safe. And many became funny to survive pain. These adaptations become identity placeholders. But once you understand why they formed, something shifts. You gain compassion for yourself. You release shame. You begin choosing identity consciously rather than unconsciously. That's spiritual growth and emotional maturity. So when we ask why identity matters spiritually and emotionally, the answer is simple. Identity gives the soul a place to land. It allows you to integrate pain instead of carrying it silently. It allows you to transform experience into wisdom. And it allows you to live from wholeness rather than fragmentation. Trevor Noah didn't just become a comedian. He became someone who made meaning out of contradiction. And that's what identity does at its highest level. It turns survival into insight, pain into understanding, and experience into purpose. Thank you for watching A Different Angle. Please like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Also hit the notification bell so you can be notified when I post the next video. Sur ce, on se dit à la prochaine. See you soon.